What's up, y'all? This is everything I've read in the last 100 days. Starting on January 1st, I read Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. And I feel like a lot of people already know what this is about, but it's Haymitch's story from the 50th Hunger Games, where there were double the amount of tributes. So 2 girls and 2 boys from each district. But I'm not going to go into like a big summary of it. I just want to give my general thoughts on the book. First of all, I thought Effie being in this book was a little unnecessary. It's just because I didn't really ever picture her being on the train as long as Haymitch was, and I didn't expect her to become an escort for like that long. And I don't know, I also didn't expect her to be that much older than Haymitch, because in this book Haymitch is 16 years old and Effie is like a college graduate, so she's probably like early to mid 20s. And I just never pictured it. And I get that, you know, Haymitch looks a lot older because he was an alcoholic for years, and then Effie has like all this work done because she's like a capital citizen. But I don't know, I just always pictured them around the same age anyways. And I guess my main issue was like, I don't feel like she added anything to the story. Like, I feel like Suzanne could have written the book without her in it and it wouldn't have changed much. She could have just like rewritten it a bit, and I just felt like it wasn't really necessary to have her in there. But I mean, I enjoyed seeing her, but that just felt like the weakest point in the book. Otherwise, it was like really great. I love all the sibling dynamics in this. That's not something that we really got a lot from the other books besides like Katniss and Prim. But I won't spoil too much, but there are like a lot of really good sibling dynamics in here that were just so heartwarming, and it makes the story just so much sadder because of everything that happens. So overall, I really loved it, and it's 4.8 star read. Highly recommend. And after that, I got a book from the library, so here it is. Called Haven of Swans by Colleen Coble. A friend recommended it to me, and it's like this mystery thriller. It starts out with this young girl who doesn't remember who she is or where she's at, but she's like driving down the road like bleeding out, and she has like a 2-year-old in the back of the car, and she doesn't remember anything, and she's just trying to get away from someone, and so she like wrecks her car to make it look like she died, and then takes her kid, or she's knocked out for a few hours, and then she grabs her kid and walks down the road until this lady drives by and picks her up and takes her to this small town. Yeah, so she doesn't know who she is or what happened to her, but she's not in a rush to figure it out because she likes this new life she's built. I didn't feel that immersed in the story as I wanted to be, because it's in like a quaint little town like up north. I forgot exactly where. I think it's in Michigan. And yeah, I feel like I wanted to be immersed in the setting and just everywhere a little bit more, and I just wasn't. And I really love reading stories with strong descriptions and strong settings and just a strong vibe, but I didn't get any of that from this book. Also, I thought a lot of the characters were bland. They didn't have much depth to them, and a lot of them seemed one-sided, and so like none of them are like really memorable to me, or like I don't even remember like most of the characters' names, and I only read this book like 3 months ago. I feel like this book did a good job of delivering like a psychopathic villain, and then I felt like the mystery and suspense were all right, but I feel like it could have been just a little bit more. I don't know. Just felt like this book came up short a bit. So nothing that I really loved about it, but nothing I hated about it. So it deserves a 3.5 stars. And then next, I read The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. And this is one that my grandma recommended for me. It's like a romance story, which I don't think I've ever read a just dedicated like romance book before this, but my grandma highly recommended it because it has also a lot to do with like Alzheimer's, and I don't want to spoil it because it's more towards the end of the book, But yeah, since it is a romance, I did skip like one part because it's just not really my genre. But besides that, it was really good. It was a quick read. It was only like a few hours. It took me a few hours to read. The writing style is really good. The ending was just like so sad, but so true. Like it was very realistic depiction of Alzheimer's. And I love just like the little like miracle at the end, which is like also like very accurate to if you knew someone with Alzheimer's. That really does happen where they have like little moments of remembrance. Overall, really good book, and I'd give it 4 stars. After that, I read All the Light We Cannot See. So originally I watched the Netflix miniseries like when it first came out. I don't know, that was like 2 years ago. And I really liked it. I watched it with my other grandma, and yeah, we both really enjoyed it. It's about this blind French girl and this like really smart German boy living during World War II. And it starts when they're both like young children or preteens, and how their stories like converge towards the end. And I love the whole like aesthetic of the book with like all the radios and like the ocean. And this is a book I really feel immersed in. It has a lot of good description, and I love it because I can just picture everything so well and everyone so well. It was funny when I got this book from the library. The librarian was like, "Oh, you're gonna love this book. The Netflix series was so bad on it, but the book is really good." I was like, "Oh, I wanted to read it because of the Netflix show." And she's like, "Oh," she's like, "Well, this is better." So yeah, I thought it was kind of funny. But even after reading it, I feel like I still like the Netflix series a lot, because even though it was a little different, it was like good in its own way. And this book was like definitely better, but I'm not mad about the Netflix series. A few things I thought about the book versus show. Oh, at first when I was reading the book, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty similar to the show. But then as I read on, I was like, hold up, this is like way different. And I was like, wow, this is really different from the book. They changed so many things. One thing I thought was interesting, I remember in the show, Marie-Laure she had a radio in the beginning where she would like listen to the radio channels, and she brought that with her when she was fleeing from Paris. But and I always thought that was like a little unrealistic, because she's literally dragging this thing, and then in the book that doesn't even happen. She doesn't like have access, or she doesn't have a radio really until she goes to her great uncle's house. After reading the book, I was like, I can't believe that they cut out like Frederick from the show. I kind of understand why, because if you're trying to shorten it and like cut out a lot, it makes sense to cut out like the whole like friendship with Frederick, but at the same time it doesn't. And I felt like that was like one of the best parts of the book. And then one thing about the casting for the show, after reading the book, like the girl they cast for Marie, like the main descriptive feature, like physical feature of Marie in the books is that she has like this face full of freckles, which I think is so cute. And in the movie, they did not do that. I feel like a makeup artist could have easily given her freckles, but they didn't. And then for the casting of the boy, it's like in the book he's repeatedly described as like shorter and like scrawnier than everyone else. Also, he doesn't have white hair. Like in the book he has like white snowy hair, and so does his sister. But in the movie he's like just blonde. And it's like, I feel like hair dye or like a wig or something could have fixed that too. I felt like their acting was pretty good. I don't know the names of the actors, but without reading the book, the show was great on its own. And even after like reading the book, the show is still great, but the book is better. Like they changed the ending quite a bit, and I just felt like in the book it was less rushed and it made more sense what happened. So I don't really get why they changed it that much. But one thing I did think the show did well was expanding on like the father-daughter relationship. I know they added in a few scenes between the girl and her father, but like it's well, don't get me wrong, it's well done in the book, but I just feel like the show kind of added a bit more to it. And especially the scene where we see like what happens to the dad after he gets captured in the show. I don't want to spoil it, but I thought that that was really good and highly recommend both. I would give the book 4.8 stars and the show like 4.5 stars. And then after that, I also don't have it because I got it from the library, but I read some of the Promised Neverland manga. So I started out watching the anime for this because my older brother recommended the first season of the anime. And so I was like, yeah, okay. And I watched it and I loved the first season. And then he said, oh, don't watch the second season because the second season is like so bad and the manga is way better. And so I was like, okay, where do I pick up in on the manga? So I started halfway through volume 5 of the Promised Neverland manga to continue the story. And then I'm like somewhere at like midway through 13. I haven't quite finished it yet, but because I think there are 20 volumes. So far, I really like it. Like, this is one that you really don't want spoilers for. Like, just go into it and read it. It's about this group of orphans and like all the hardships they go through, but it's like actually really wholesome. And I love all of the main characters. Like, I don't think there's like really a single character that I dislike. There's like something likable about like all the main characters, at least in the first season of the anime. To be honest, I actually don't like the manga like past the what was in the first season of the anime as much. So I still haven't read the first 4.5 volumes of the Promised Neverland manga, which who knows, that is probably better than the first season. I just felt like the first season and that first arc was like so good. I don't know, there wasn't really anything I didn't like. At least just watch the first episode and then you'll kind of get the vibe of the whole thing. And then yeah, if that's something you're into, then totally watch it. I want to go back and do a more in-depth and full review with like all the spoilers and stuff, talking about all of the anime and all of the manga for the Promised Neverland once I finished it all. But so that's why I won't go too in-depth on it right now. So yeah, but let me know in the comments if you would like to see a video like that. So far, the first season of the anime is 4.9 stars for me, and the manga from like volume 5.5 to volume 13.5 is like 4 stars. And then the last thing I read was this book, which I got from a garage sale for $1. It's called One of Us is Lying. It's basically about these like high school stereotypes of like the brain, the beauty, the criminal, the athlete, and the outcast. It's like a murder mystery, and it was just not for me. It wasn't very suspenseful, and yeah, I predicted the who did it after just a few chapters, and I feel like I could skim, and I did. I like skimmed over some chapters, or just like almost pretty much skipped some chapters because I was getting bored with it, and I feel like I missed basically nothing. And it's more about like high school drama and stuff, which I wasn't really into reading at all. But I did end up finishing it, and it just wasn't for me. And I just didn't like anything about this book. So 2.5 stars. But yeah, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video and my reviews of everything I've read in the last 100 days. So have a blessed day and adios.